Welcome to Blamestorming. Blamestorming. In a post-truth world, there's plenty of blame to go around. 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 Join Dave Sirus and Maryssa Smith as they blamestorm about today's hot topics.
Yeah, that's 8 blames. That means it's time to start Blamestorming. I'm your host, Dave Sairs, with our other host, Maryssa Smith. Say hi, Maryssa.
Hello, folks.
Today we have special guests. We have Eli Sairs is back.
What's up, everyone?
Oh, God. What just happened? And of course, we have our other guest.
Hi.
Hi, Remy.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good.
So anyway, what's going on, guys?
Just hanging out in this podcast room, dude.
I'm just
Okay.
having the
what are
worst
you up
day
to?
of my life.
Something sound. Yes, Remy had the worst
Oh,
day I've
God.
ever heard of.
I have to relive this. Is so sad. It's such a
It's
bummer.
so
It's
sad.
actually really upsetting.
It is.
Tell them what happened.
I was recording a few episodes of one of my podcasts. Like, I recorded like 11 yesterday, and then there was like 2 other ones of my other podcasts that's supposed to be next season coming out. And the recording device died, and now I lost all the files, which shouldn't be a thing.
It really
Oh,
shouldn't be
shit.
possible, and that's
Yeah.
so upsetting because you actually have a popular podcast.
I had, yeah. Yeah.
If we lost these, nothing happens, and these are locked in.
Reasonably.
These have backups. These are in a studio, and even though it's still being listened to by literally tens of people, it doesn't really hurt anyone if we lost these.
Yeah.
We lost like weeks.
Yeah.
Just be clear, everyone. Are we talking about How Come?
Well, no, actually.
Oh, so we're talking about the other one.
We're talking about the other one is We Really Love Island, which is I have to watch like an hour of television and then recap it, and then an hour and then recap. So it was like so much fucking work.
You're
And
very popular. Remy Kassimir is a very
Talk more into the mic. She can't
okay.
hear.
Remy Kassimir is a very popular podcaster.
maybe,
You have suddenly exploded in popularity, ironically, off a show about orgasms.
maybe, yeah, we'll see.
I saw you on Explained.
I was
you were
on
the
Netflix.
By the way, you were the
baby.
third person I know who was on Explained.
Who else?
Like, that's what the weirdest thing about it. A girl
Sarah
that I used to-
Hartshorn.
No.
She's in that same episode as me.
Okay, 4 people I know.
Yeah.
I hadn't met her
Caitlin
at the
Bailey
time.
is also
Well, I
on
know
that
Caitlin.
episode. Mhm.
I know Caitlin very well. And also, that means 5 people have been on Explained that I know because my friends, a couple were there for the Polly episode.
Oh, sick! I love that
And they were on
episode.
the
It's
Polly
so
episode. And
good.
the funniest thing about it is they're a couple. They're both into it. She's been in it longer than him. But for the sake of editing, it ended up being literally he was the only one who spoke. And she just sat next to him the whole time. So it comes across like he's just keeping his
kidnapped
wife's
her.
mouth shut when
Yeah.
he talks about how we fuck other people.
Yeah, we fuck other people.
Yeah. So I am so sorry about
Yeah,
her.
it's been a day, but whatever. I think second recordings can go well. I'll just be tired.
I'm so sorry. But
Yeah, man, I
lose
don't-
that magic.
And you lose that especially I'm not going to rewatch the episodes. I'll just do it from my notes, but I'm going to have to fake being like, "Oh, I can't believe that happened."
Well, a lot of people listening might, if you don't know, a lot of people might think that's an overreaction to be that sad over lost podcast episodes, but no, man, it's real. I felt nothing during the last 4 shootings, but right now I just want to go home and go to bed. I'm so sad.
It's really
just hearing that.
It's just think about how many hours of time
It's brutal. It's goddamn
spent
brutal.
with people who don't even like me. No, I'm just kidding.
No, because getting people to do your show, it's so much work. Just getting
Yeah.
people to come and do and
Come.
yeah, well, that's your other show, right?
Yeah, no. So the saddest thing, I mean, the Love Island thing is very sad, but for the How Come episode, we lost this doctor who was consulted when Match.com was made. She's like the top matching expert, and
She's like expert in orgasms?
no in like love and neuroscience at the Kinsey Institute. So you know how you hear about the Kinsey scale? Like,
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I heard about it.
it's
Oh,
like
you're gonna love learning about Kinsey.
Do
yeah,
tell.
It's just like the sexual spectrum. Like if you're
Like people on the spectrum who fuck?
yeah, but
I
how
like
are you,
this. I
are
like
you, Are
this.
you 90% straight and with 10% gay? That's where you fall on the Kinsey scale.
Right, some people are
Wait.
100%.
So if you're on the spectrum,
It's not autism
so you're saying
spectrum.
that if you're a little bit gay, you're on the spectrum. That's pretty fucked up.
Well, everybody's
Yeah.
on the
That's
spectrum.
messed up.
Yeah, everybody is.
Well done. No, but yeah, Kinsey was the doctor who was
Yeah, the movie
studying
came out.
sex. Yeah,
Yeah.
and they basically got into the guy really dove into his work.
He really
is what
did.
happened. The man really wanted to know what he was talking about.
Yeah.
And the Kinsey scale is when people say, when people say to you, you're obviously a little bit gay. That's what they're referring to. They're saying like, you can be
the same way they say you're a little bit autistic.
Yeah, that's what they say to me. Conversely, correct.
So those are like the spectrums. So Kinsey pulled a bunch of autistic people.
What's that?
Kinsey pulled a bunch of autistic people, and was like, "How straight are you?"
The bit was good. Now
I just wanted to remind everyone.
No, I trust me. The people at home got it. But yeah, no, it's an interesting thing. I'm sure Remy actually knows quite a bit about Kinsey with your expertise on orgasms.
Yeah, if you guys don't know what How Come's about, I couldn't come, so I started a podcast in order to give me incentive to like finish assignments and come. So every episode I'd have like a friend on or an expert, and they'd tell me about their first time coming experience, and everyone still does that. But before I came, they'd have to give me an assignment, and then I'd have to complete it for the next week. And surprise, 6 episodes in, I did it. So
she
now
came.
I
she
did
had
it.
an orgasm. She ruined the show.
Many.
She ruined the whole purpose
I
of the
cried
show.
when it first happened because I was like, I have to end the podcast.
Yeah, that's so sad. But now you don't have to because it's part of the story.
Yeah, no, and so many people wrote into being like, please don't stop, because a lot of us still haven't come. So we still like want assignments and want to figure out like what to do. And
what kind of assignments do you get?
Like, they really run the gamut. One of them was just like, take time and actually watch porn, like devote time to it, because I really hadn't done that. One of them was like, look at your vagina in the mirror. One of them was like, go to a masturbation class, have a tantric massage, like a lot of different stuff.
So what's the technique that actually did it though?
No technique. It's a machine. It's called the Womanizer, and I love it. It's my best friend.
Oh, I'm glad they're using an ironic name. I went to a blowjob
I know,
class
it's
once.
horrible. They tried they have one called the Liberty now, which I'm just like, ugh.
I went to a sex club, not a sex club, a sex shop in
Yeah,
LA, the
yeah.
Pleasure Chest. They do
Yeah.
comedy. I've done comedy shows there too. So a week before I did the show there, I went on a first date to a blowjob class off Tinder or Bumble or whatever. And now, first of all, it was her idea. I'm not asking a girl on a first date to a blowjob class.
Yeah.
I know better than that. I'm not going to take a girl and be like, just so you know what we're doing later.
Who does she think you are that she's trying to impress you so much with a blowjob class on the first date?
Well, let's not. Well, I mean,
What did you tell
she
her?
didn't teach the class. We went to a class.
No, I know.
Oh, we had a perfectly normal. She was like, "Hey, I'm going to a blowjob class at the Pleasure Chest. If you want to come." That was her idea for a first date.
If you want to come.
And
Ba-dum-bum.
and here's the thing about it: it was awkward because
It's a blowjob class and it's a date?
not that part. It was just awkward because after the date, she wanted to
Test the
me.
theory?
Well, she wanted to use what she learned.
Yeah.
And frankly, she didn't learn much.
Oh.
It really. And I'm like, what am I going to do? Tell her, were you paying attention or not?
Yeah, okay. So at first I'm like, ooh, sexy idea, blowjob class. You show him you're adventurous, but also you're showing him that like you're bad at blowjobs. Like that's your that's your first meeting.
Maybe I was wound up too much and I had too much of an expectation after this. But no, the class itself was fine. It was like, entertaining,
Did they?
I just felt
They
like
had
a
one
scumbag
model,
being there.
right?
Well, the teacher was
Yeah,
the model.
yeah.
And it was very clinical. It was very like, it wasn't meant to be like titillating. It was meant to actually like help
Inform.
women,
Yeah.
who maybe are intimidated by
Yeah.
it or just, so it was perfectly fine. We never saw each other again, but it was like it was a very surprising, but like impressive thing to say to a guy. This is what I think we should do on our first date.
Mm-hmm.
Well, look, my joke was like, there's like an autism spectrum, and there's also like the Kinsey spectrum.
He's
Yes.
on both, everybody.
Yes. Well, thank you for reinforcing why you had the autism spectrum on your
Were there a lot of other couples at the blowjob class?
They were mostly couples, yeah.
Okay.
Where did they? Was it like a banana that they practiced on?
No, a man.
Real man?
No.
Oh, really?
No.
Well, what kind of
You ain't
blowjob
seen
class is
Sex in the
this?
City? It's no. In Sex in the City, they used a real man.
Yeah, they
wasn't a
used a
lot-
real man in a tantric sesh.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This
Yeah,
wasn't
I
a
need to
live-
start going to these classes.
This wasn't a live sex show. It was just a clinical thing of like
My masturbation class was a live woman.
You went to a masturbation
masturbating.
class?
Yeah, it was one of my assignments. Are you listening? Or are you
no,
just
I
thinking
was
about
waiting.
scales?
I was waiting to get in my spectrum joke again.
I was watching like a sex therapist, blow a dildo like with instructions.
Nice. Was it
Lame.
vibrating?
No, there was like nothing.
Was it
Did it have
veiny?
balls?
There was nothing. There was nothing hot about it at all.
What's a
Actually,
good dildo?
It might have been one of the ones with balls, probably just, for the sake.
Oh, they do
Of
make them with
showing.
balls.
Yeah.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
The ones with balls sometimes stick to the wall, so you can like bang them. Like you
Wow.
can like.
Are you like...
That's
are
cool
you-
as shit, dude.
Are you like
That's
thinking
one
that
of
your
the-
girlfriend listens to this and you have to put on this show like you've never seen porn before?
But I've never, I never like Google like. I don't watch a woman
Dildos with
fucking a
balls.
dildo. Yeah, I don't watch that.
Well,
What do you watch?
You don't have to Google it for it to just happen.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're looking at porn, dildos just kind of come up.
Yeah, but not with balls necessarily.
Well, those are the ones that they have the suction cups they put on the wall. Or
Yeah,
the floor.
Remy already
I
filled
just
me in.
said that.
You never listen to Remy. That's your problem.
You don't listen to me.
I listen to you constantly.
No, I'm reiterating that it's very easy to see if you're not, intimidated by online porn.
Look, if a dildo comes, if it's just, I don't watch. Oh, skip that part.
Okay.
I'm trying to see some dick, baby.
Nice. But no, that's true. I like to watch couples. I like to watch.
Like people in love,
Yes, thank you. Exactly.
where they
I like-
smooch.
Oh, you should look at makelovenotporn.com.
Oh no, I'm familiar.
Make
with
love,
it.
Oh,
not
you are?
porn.com.
Okay.
Well, I'm
I've
familiar
never
with
heard
the whole
of that.
thing of like that. There was a
That they're-
female created porn
Yeah.
where it's like it's not just the sex. It's like we find out like they're about their relationship and
Wow.
about their hang-ups and about what their day was like and why
And the
I just Google-
cinematography is nice. And
I just Google eye contact in Pornhub.
nice.
Yeah,
I don't
is
like
that a thing?
I don't think I was just trying to be
Probably
funny.
Oh, I was like, no, but that could be somebody's like, I love eye
Once he locks
contact.
into
Yeah.
autism jokes, he's pretty much there the rest of the show. That's one of the symptoms.
Dude, no, I don't know, but yeah, it is nice if they're like a happy couple, or if it's like a woman degrading a guy. That's kind of hot.
I don't. I'm not turned on by that. I am turned
I am.
off by the opposite.
I am too.
How-
Oh, I'm so turned off
Like-
by a dude degrading a woman.
I want. Like,
And I'm not just saying that. I'm not just being
no, I agree.
virtue signaling
SJW.
You want to say cuck? don't
Vinny.
Ally.
You mean a Vinny? Is that a thing?
Virtue signaling Vinny. I'm trying to make the letters
Okay,
match up.
got it. When I think of
Again,
feminist guys, I think
autistic.
of guys named Vinny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Staten Island is full of virtue signalers.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you cared about women, you'd be Vincent.
You'd be Vincent. My dad had a lab partner in med school named Vincent, but he was an Asian American man, and he thought his name was going to be too difficult for the professor, so he changed it to Vincent.
What? You probably have seen porn a couple of times.
I honestly, okay, so this is why
And-
watching porn was one of my assignments, is because the only times I've ever watched it before that were like with friends, like to see like something funny about it.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, or
almighty.
something gross.
Oh,
yeah, or
God.
something gross. Like
No,
it
fuck
wasn't.
that. You got to feel filthy. You got to
Yeah,
be
but-
ashamed of what you're doing.
But girls weren't
I know.
told that we did it for a very long time. Like it was like boys watch porn, and then
Yeah,
we
yeah,
laugh
yeah.
at the porn when the boys are watching the porn.
Well, it's kind of like yeah. I have a question for you two. The way I'm, and maybe not Dave so much, although the inverse is true. I think it's hot if a woman degrades a man. There's a lot of porn where the man degrades a woman. Is that at all hot to you in any way?
Not really.
No.
I don't like it. I'm put off by
And
it.
when women get degraded in porn, it's not like an S&M like mind game thing. Like
It's more like they throw them out of a fucking car or something.
Yeah, it's just some broy dick with his foot on her head, being like, "Yeah, you whore." Like, it's I actually like to watch women enjoy sex.
Yeah, that's
Is
good.
that
I like them
so
in charge.
weird?
It's hot when they're in charge.
I want them to.
I think.
like it. I want. Like
Yeah.
I'm trying to put myself in the guy's shoes.
I want them to hate it, and they're so mad at you they fucking hit you and degrade you while they do it.
See, that I don't get.
Yeah,
well,
I don't either, but I like
I've
on a
slapped
lot
somebody
of
right in the face.
Nice.
dating apps, I have a lot of guys that ask to like be my slave and stuff like that, or like they want me to
Hell
dominate
yeah.
them. And so like I don't know because I don't have
Do you
anything.
I was going to say, do you have anything on your profile
No.
that would make them so?
No, it's like literally my profile is just kind of like if you don't like bacon, beer, or cheese, we're probably not going to get along.
I'm going to
That's-
stick my heel in your chest.
Yeah. But like I get guys that ask me if I'm like into pegging and like that. I don't know
Whoa.
why they
I don't
think-
like all that.
I kind of think in a way that it's racist because it's always a white guy. And I think that they just have this like fantasy of having like a black woman dominate them.
Well, there definitely is like the misconception that any black woman who is sexual is like a fucking deviant and like will do everything, and that like, yeah, a lot of people get things twisted.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't like. Here's the thing. I don't like all the leather and all the pegging and all the sharp stuff and the tying the balls up. I just like regular sex, but the woman's in charge and like clearly just bossing them around and shit. Like that's cool to me.
Okay, that's fine. That's that probably speaks well of you. I think it's the more well-adjusted guys who want to be
Yeah.
beaten. than want to like. I don't
Like a little beating
I
is good.
deserve
A little
this.
beating is good.
When you're a guy and you really want to dominate women, I'm just like, what is your average?
Yeah, like,
Yeah,
do you
what?
not get it enough? Like,
getting
you're
shit
already
on?
winning all the
It's
time.
weird. It's weird to want to dominate. I don't know.
I just see so many like porno where like guys are just like, like for example, the spitting. It's just
I don't like that.
Dude, a girl spitting in your face, though, that's cool as hell.
I don't mind the girl. I'm just saying, but
Yeah.
anytime it's like having to, like the power. If you're only just reinforcing a power dynamic that's already there, what's titillating about that?
Yeah, nothing.
It's
Okay, this is getting too smart for me. I just think
but you
spitting
like
in the
a
face
woman,
is cool
you
as
like a
hell.
woman in charge, but that's partially because that's not what's usually happening.
Oh, look, I ain't a
there's-
fucking sociology professor, but I believe you.
You're pretending not to be able to understand these things.
It's my charm, baby.
You're trying to out Osh.
Don't pull back the curtain. You're no fun. You're making it no fun. You're the guy who's like, oh, wrestling isn't real, you know.
It is.
What?
Eli isn't really autistic, you know.
No.
And I am dumber than
I
you
never
think.
said that.
That's the thing. I am dumber than that. I put off the vibe that I'm actually smarter than you think, but
I don't think you put out the vibe at all. I think you just happen to be smart and you don't know.
Am I?
Yeah, I've heard your jokes, man.
Everyone
They
likes
come out. Well, what's that Rain Man shit? Where you're you're
yeah,
smart
savant.
and sporadic.
Which,
A
by the
savant.
way, he knew.
Yeah, and certain. I didn't know.
he
No,
knew.
I knew that now that you say it, but I could not recall that word.
Idiot savant.
right now.
was when you're also
Yes.
when you're also debilitated. In
I think I'm smart in bursts in areas,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but no sociology. I'm not.
That's
Wanna-
okay. That's fine. But now
And I don't
we
like
learned
it.
about Kinsey today.
I've been
You're gonna-
quite the anthropologist since I was a little girl. I saved all my AIM convos.
What's an AAM combo?
Oh my
Oh, AAM. I thought it was I was thinking like bones and shit with anthropology.
Oh. No.
Yeah, that's also the name of
The
the
fossils of
the
our
porn
AM
industry-
conversations.
The porn industry AIDS test is called AIM. So
Is it?
yeah, bang up job they did too.
You know the way I think you could end call out culture,
How's that?
like end any of this, like oh this guy got hired, but let's fire him. So just if somehow they found a way to release everyone's AM ever, then everyone would suddenly be like, who am I to fucking talk?
Well, the problem is you'd get the people who just literally never talk to anyone. thinking that they're
And then
gods.
they would just be like, we're the best people in society.
Yeah, because we've never had a friend.
Yeah, these fucking not even an online friend.
Yeah.
Let's bring up that. There's two stories
Uh-oh,
today
what did I
about
do?
comedians.
Oh.
That when this comes out, there were two stories last week.
Oh, my.
About comedians who
Good
got in
comedy.
different levels of trouble. And the funny thing about it is, it really depends on how famous you are too. One of them is Nimesh Patel,
Yes.
SNL writer.
Yeah.
I
Not
like
my
Nimesh.
year,
I like
Yeah.
Nimesh.
following year, and Kevin Hart.
Mm.
Nimesh Patel did a joke at Columbia.
I thought you were
And-
talking about two completely different people.
Yeah, I thought you were.
You
got
talking
one of them
about
that I
Louis
thought was right.
CK
That we-
also.
Oh, we'll get
No,
into
I
Louis
was
CK too,
thinking
but that's
way
just-
You gotta build up a
lower
little bit.
level comic.
Wait, who are you? What?
Oh.
Is there someone we're not? Oh, did you think we were going to talk?
Oh, you hear about the Dom Herrera
radio
scandal?
show stuff?
I love Dom Herrera
the
though.
whole thing with
He's a
Aaron
genius.
Berg and Chrissy Mayer.
No, not
Oh
that
God,
one.
why would we talk about that?
Yeah, we don't need to get. Jesus.
No,
It's
not-
something people have heard of.
No, yeah, no, there's another one that people definitely haven't heard of either, but comics Anyway, go ahead. Let's talk about.
Tell me
What's
off
up with
mic.
the- we
We'll
can
tell
talk
you
the
off
national ones
mic.
if you want. Okay, guys, we have a break. We can do this. All right, while they're doing that, I'm going to explain. Nimesh Patel did a joke that basically the joke was he was talking about being gay and that he has a friend who is gay and black. And he was like, yeah, I mean, and he did a joke that is a little generic, but he had his own twist on it, which is that's how you know being gay isn't a choice. What black guys can look in the mirror and say, you know what, this just isn't hard enough.
Right.
And to be fair on
And
him,
they
I think
cut his mic. They shut off the
sorry.
show, and they did articles about what a terrible person he is.
Yeah. It was a liberal point with an edge, but he's a comedian.
A
And
liberal point.
I will say, I don't know. I've never. I'm not close with Nimesh, but I've been in the scene long enough. I think I could be wrong. He's been doing that joke a while, and I think when he first did that joke, it was more fresh. You know what I mean? Like it was not as well worn territory.
Oh, yeah, no,
in his
that's-
defense, in his defense, as far as generic goes,
Yeah,
or
that's
whatever.
part of the problem that. Yeah, I'm not condemning the guy because
Yeah.
the theme of the joke
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
the most new idea. You know, I'm sure he has been doing it a while. And you know what? The problem that pissed me off is that they act like, well, how could he possibly not know this would be offensive? You know why? Because he's probably been doing that joke for gay and black people for years.
and
who
he
liked
was
it.
Yeah.
booked for that very thing. So you would think that they would take his set into some kind of account, like.
Well, it sounds like this wasn't about them thinking the joke was wrong. I think that if a gay or black person had done the joke, that it wouldn't have been offensive, but it became a thing about, you
don't have
can't
the
make
right
this joke,
to
and I'm
say
going
this.
to pretend you meant the opposite of what you meant
Right.
Also, some
to
people
reinforce my power that I feel right now.
Some people
Right.
don't think. Some people they won't unpack a joke. They'll hear the word
Right.
gay and black in the same sentence, and their mind can't handle it, and they'll be like, "Well, this must be bad."
If you go to the kind of source of the joke, I think that there is a lot of empathy in it.
I like that we
Well,
have
the
not
whole
asked
point of the
Maryssa her
joke-
opinion on it when she's the one black person here.
Yeah.
I feel like we should ask
Yeah,
her.
The whole point of the joke is clearly on their side.
right.
So it just seems disingenuous to say that it's hateful when, like, would it have been hateful if he didn't look that way?
Yeah, it's nothing new. The cancel Colbert thing was similar. He was making
Yes.
a liberal point, but it had an edge to it, so people found an opportunity to
Suey
feel
Park-
self-righteous. So
Suey Park made a dishonest attack on him to make herself famous. Is
Yeah.
essentially what the cancel
Yeah,
Colbert thing.
that's what it
A
was.
woman pretended to misinterpret a joke because she saw an opportunity.
Yeah.
And I even heard people saying that,
What
like,
was that joke?
well, Stephen Colbert was talking about the Redskins and how offensive the name the Redskins is. And Snyder, the guy who owns the team, said as a compromise, we're not going to get rid of the team name, but we will start a charity called the Redskins Foundation for the Betterment of Indigenous Americans. And Colbert was like, oh yeah, that'll really make everything better. I'm sure they really love the idea that the charity even has the word Redskins in it. Why don't I just make up a charity that's called the Ching Chong Ding Dong House for Orientals or whatever?
Yeah, saying that what I'm saying right now is offensive.
And
Yeah.
Suey Park, who later told people she was a comedian, despite
they all do.
never done comedy
They all
before,
fucking do.
started acting like this was proof that Stephen Colbert is racist and needs to be taken off the air and he needs to have his career ended.
Cancel Colbert
because of how
trended,
bad this
yeah.
was. And it makes a good point, which is the whole thing of, it sounds like you want to attack the people on your side because they actually listen to you. But the people on the other side who actually will openly attack your race, you don't even want to bother with them because that's old.
'Cause
That's
there's no-
hacky.
right.
Other people are attacking them because they should be. You want to find a new villain
Yeah.
that people will notice you're attacking.
Yeah.
Marissa, what do you think?
Oh,
As an
I
Asian,
said-
now that we've moved on to the Asian
As an
thing,
Asian,
as an Asian,
yes.
what do you think?
as an Asian American. So now the comic that did this joke is Southeast Asian, right?
Yes, his family's from India.
And I'm assuming that the people that are outraged about the joke are white.
No,
Oh, always.
not necessarily.
But in the auditorium, I think it was a benefit for it was something to do with Asian students.
One of the articles claimed that someone's two gay black friends were mortified by the joke. Well, that doesn't mean the joke was bad because the guy acted like, oh, these were the first two gay black people to hear this joke ever. So that their opinion. But the problem is the joke bombed.
Also,
So-
I do know this about Nimesh. He performs in all kinds of audiences, black, white, constantly. Like, he has a very large sample size to, like, he's not stupid for thinking this joke wouldn't
And
work.
if he did that joke all the time and it always worked for people who looked exactly like the people in that audience, does that mean that those people were bad for laughing at it or for thinking, yes, it is difficult to be gay or black in America?
Yeah, it. So when I was younger, I remember in health class in like 4th grade, they said something that was like, life is more difficult for gay people. And I immediately went, oh my God, please don't make me gay. I don't want life to be more difficult for me or whatever. And I remember thinking, I don't want any of my kids to, just because I don't want life to be more difficult for me. Like, I'm friends with, I'm a little bit gay. I mean, I don't want to steal anyone, but like, it's like, I think that comes from a place of the joke is,
There's no question it comes from a place of empathy. The
Yeah.
people- anyone claiming it doesn't is just lying for its own sake. They know it comes from empathy. They're saying, how dare you speak for people that you're not?
right.
Which used to be a good thing. It
Well,
used
look,
to be good
and
when
this-
I think
someone
the whole-
advocated for other people.
I think the whole audience that got offended wasn't white, but literally everyone who read about it and did mental gymnastics to defend the audience were white. I guarantee you that.
Probably.
But like this was what, Columbia?
Yes.
So it's probably like 80% white.
Yeah.
And
One would assume, but this was a benefit for students of color, wasn't it? Or-
For Asian. It was called culture shock,
Right.
which the word shock is fucking in the
right in the title.
but and it had to do with I don't remember the same. I'm trying to. There's no way to paraphrase it without me sounding racist. So I don't want to say it was something to do with Asians. You know, like I don't know. It had something to do with.
It's
And
interesting.
it also to me sounds like like right wing trolling to like even start the controversy about it, or like even and like, you know, while they were there to complain like, oh, pull this guy off stage because of this joke.
Well, how many liberals have no idea that they're just parroting Ben Shapiro and other right-wing
yeah.
trolls
Right.
who are just falling for these arguments? I mean, it's what happened all through the election.
Yeah.
Some liberals who think that they're progressives, quoting like brutally right-wing racist websites about Hillary.
Right.
The same people who called, Obama's House of Tards, then put out fake videos about Hillary, and I see people voted for Bernie post them. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's interesting, I did a college show with Christian Ramirez once, and he was doing jokes about his own heritage, and it bombed. And he was literally like, what, this isn't cool? This, like...
Yeah.
Like,
But it's like you said, they don't
what?
want to unpack anything. They're trying to be offended by not listening to what the meaning of the joke is.
It's nothing new that college kids are a little more sensitive. Like, I don't know why people are kind of suddenly making a big deal, but I guess because I don't want to sound like a fucking out of touch, like, because, like, college kids are a little more, you have to adjust your set when you do a college, just the way, like, and you can't, make fun of certain, just the way you adjust your set if you do a set in fucking West Virginia, and the other way around. You don't make fun of the fucking troops or Jesus, But I do think right now, you don't want to sound old, but like right now, I do think it's reached a fever pitch, I guess, with that kind of thing.
Funny thing about that, oddly enough, remember when the UVA thing happened in Rolling Stone, where the story in Rolling Stone that a girl was raped by an entire fraternity turned out to be fabricated, and the girl obviously had other extenuating issues that caused her to believe this or to say this when they knew it didn't happen.
I don't remember that.
And
it was
very,
crazy.
very big
Yeah.
story.
Okay.
And it was proven that and when you read the story, basically everyone who read it was like, how could you not check this? This story sounds insane.
Yeah, the journalist
right.
clearly the journalist clearly saw it as like, well, this is my big fucking break. This story has to come out,
At one point she said that she was raped by an entire frat team on a pile of broken glass. That's not, and it just sounded like that, and like she was naming the people. Their names were like Gutter and Armpit and Beer Keg, and I'm like,
Whoa.
It just sounded made up.
Brett
It's like
Kavanaugh's
side characters in Animal House.
It sounded made up. Like I said, the idea that no one would be injured on a pile of broken glass.
Right.
Yeah.
No one, like, that sounds like something that a person in a state thought of.
So in this situation,
So I did the show at UVA.
Yeah. Okay.
A few weeks after it was revealed that it wasn't real, and they said to me before the show, they were like, someone said, they're like, hey, don't do any rape jokes because there's a girl was raped really bad recently. That's the words they used.
Raped really bad.
I was like, you're not really
Like epic rape, bro.
But it was
a
also
mega.
my answer, of course, is, well, I don't do those jokes. But also, it's very public that it didn't happen.
Right.
You've already acknowledged it didn't happen. What do you?
Yeah.
What is?
Were they talking about a different girl?
No, they
Oh.
were talking about that story. Like, well, people are still sensitive about it. I'm like, well, I'm not going to do these jokes anyway. I wouldn't have done these jokes anyway, but it's a little odd that you're saying don't do these jokes because of something that you've acknowledged was a mistake.
It just riled everybody up thinking about the fact that it might have happened
Right.
and that they had to visualize it
I mean,
for a
obviously
few
there's plenty
days.
happening on campus anyway, but it was just a very odd situation. But yeah, the UVA case was it's like, the problem is you're not helping rape victims by not vetting these. You're hurting them by giving every goddamn Proud Boy an example of something.
Yeah. That story coming out.
Exactly.
That story coming out set it back so badly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then, it gives fodder. It gives fodder to people who
It's
are
all
like,
rapists want.
yeah,
Because all
yeah.
rapists, I think, deep down, just believe everyone does this.
Right.
And that's why they're not
Right.
monsters.
But that's the whole thing with rape culture. It's like, let's normalize it so that we can all just do it.
Yeah, it's the idea that, I don't want to make things better because then I'm going to have to take some responsibility for things I've done in my past.
Right.
Speaking of people's pasts, we can. This is the
Why'd you look at me? What's this? No. What do you know? What do you know?
Kevin Hart.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh.
Kevin Hart.
Why?
Just
Yeah, I fought Kevin Hart backstage once.
What?
No, I'm just trying to make something up.
He still kick your ass though. He's pretty jacked.
Damn.
He's jacked. Kevin Hart.
You look like a pillow.
Kevin Hart
Wait, is that a good thing?
Just like white and soft.
He deleted a bunch of- That's nice.
I like one of those things. Guess which?
He is a thin.
I'm just
pillow.
kidding. Soft. I like soft.
Yeah. So Kevin Hart deleted a bunch of homophobic tweets from around 2010, 2011.
Kevin Hart
Yes.
tweeted homophobic jokes in 2010.
Right.
I don't believe it.
And he
no.
just deleted them all. Which,
No.
by the way, he's done several gigantic movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It's really funny that
That
hosting the Oscars.
now was the time.
You didn't
yeah.
see that movie with The Rock? I Don't Want a Gay Son? Like, why aren't people mad about that? Why aren't people mad about that one?
Well, that's the big. One of the big tweets is about how it's similar to that Tracy Morgan one. Only the Tracy Morgan one was a very offensive joke, but it was still a joke.
Yeah.
You could tell he was trying to. The math of it was there.
He was trying to be exaggerated.
What was the Tracy
The
joke?
Tracy Morgan joke was, if my kid is gay, that's okay, but if he starts,
But don't act gay. Don't talk
sound
gay. Yeah.
If he starts being like, "Hey, daddy," I'll stab him.
Yeah. And on paper, that looks way worse
Offensive,
than if you're there.
But the math of it was, the joke
Yeah.
was, he can fuck all the guys he wants.
Fuck all-
I just care about the voice.
Right.
Which was, an offensive joke, but a joke.
You could say it's a bad joke, but it is a joke.
Yeah.
Kevin
Yeah.
Hart just said, if I come home and my son is playing with my daughter's dollhouse, I'm going to break it over his head and say, don't be gay. Now, to be fair, if you're a big fan of Kevin Hart, you would recognize that's actually what he considers jokes.
Yeah, no.
Right.
Like,
with
just
with
saying
Kevin's
things
tone of voice,
that
that is
aren't
a
funny.
joke. He is saying that is a joke for him. Yeah.
Right.
And I don't dislike Kevin Hart. I'll tell you that.
No, I don't have a problem
So
with him.
wait,
I
does
just
that
don't
mean
think he
he's a
writes-
bad comic? Because that's a bad joke.
Well, I think
In 2010, he put out a bad tweet. Like, I'll say that. That is not a good joke.
Yeah.
I think he's a good comic though.
Yeah.
it doesn't sound like a joke unless you recognize that Kevin Hart just says facts.
Yeah.
And
Facts, huh?
Well, for him.
Facts about him.
It is a fact that he would have done this.
Yeah.
But he's also saying, well, I don't want my kid to be gay because it's hard, which is sort of the old-fashioned
Which is what you were saying, Remy, kind of.
Right,
Yeah,
you said
no,
the exact same
I-
thing as Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
You were saying you thought that a long time ago,
I thought
and that
a
you
long
still believe
time
it.
ago. No, I thought that this was literally in 4th grade, and obviously I love
Why are you
Where did you
defending
grow up?
yourself like he means this?
because I forget that he's done.
Oh,
I've had
I'm
a bad
just simple
day.
I'm just a dummy.
I've had a
where
bad
did you
day.
grow up?
Here,
In
NYC, baby.
Did you grow up in Manhattan? That is cool as hell. Y'all talked about that kind of shit in 4th grade?
Yeah, we had
Manhattan.
our first health.
It's everything they've ever told you about growing up in Alabama. She was shown. They were putting condoms on pickles when she was in 1st grade.
Yeah,
That's
I
New
went
York,
to
baby.
a club.
They didn't talk about that shit in schools where I was.
Well, they need to.
We played games like Smear the Queer. Like that's what we played.
Did you play that? Was that
Yeah.
really?
Did
'Cause
you
that's-
play that?
I mean,
You
I
know of it, right?
that. I know.
What-
There's
of
no
it.
defending it.
They didn't really. I don't think they played that in I grew up in New York and New Jersey. So
What is
Smear the
that?
Queer?
Smear the Queer? There's no way to defend this.
there's
It's
another-
a game,
It's a game that all kids play.
but they don't necessarily call
It's
it
not
that.
It's only called that in certain areas.
What the
what it is?
fuck?
Okay, here
What
I'll
is
explain
the
it. I'll
game?
explain it. What you do, you get a group of your boys. You get into like a backyard. It was in my backyard a lot of the time. You get a ball, maybe a soccer ball. You throw that shit up in the air. Someone catches it. There's the queer, and you beat the shit out of them.
What?
We called it "Kill the Guy with the Ball."
I think we called it asshole.
Well, that's a different game. That's a card game.
No,
You
the
called-
card game.
That was asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah, we called it "Kill the Guy." With the
Oh,
Ball.
or kill the carrier.
Kill the
Yeah.
carrier. See, y'all.
kill the carrier.
In Manhattan.
Wow.
Difference between Manhattan and Brooklyn.
I'm much more cleaned up there because But the ironic thing is, we all tried to be the queer. We were all like trying to catch the ball, and
The
then
queer is the hero of the game.
yeah, and then you run away and try to dodge them and not get the shit kicked out of you.
Yeah, I don't know any. Like, I went to an all-girl school from 6th grade to 12th grade. We did not do any of that shit.
Are you from the area as well? Where are you
Yeah,
from?
I'm from Westchester.
Y'all are all from New York area.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like we didn't have any.
We don't
of
like
that.
meeting new people.
It's like, why go somewhere else?
You should really go to L.A., Eli.
L.A.
No one's from L.A. there.
Yeah, no one's from L.A.
But yeah, it's
So are they? Is the point of them bringing up his old tweets that they're trying to get him banned from the Oscars?
Oh yeah, that's all it ever
well, some
is.
people are, yeah. But I mean, the
what it is.
tweets are pretty bad.
Why? I don't understand why collectively we're all smart enough to say the tweets were bad. He probably doesn't believe that. He probably knows better now. Let him host the Oscars. Move on.
But
Why can't we
does-
all collectively know that?
But does he know
I think he does.
better
Yeah.
now
That's a good
necessarily?
question.
I think he does.
Or does he just know better to hide it now?
Now I think you
But
know
here's
better.
the other. There's so many questions it opens. For example, I mean, he could have been a really homophobic person still. He could have never been a homophobic person.
Thought
but
it was a hilarious
fitting
joke.
in. No,
Oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
fitting
yeah.
in as well.
But
yeah.
in men, especially with men that I think most women don't recognize. Like, people said the F word about gay people nonstop when I was
Oh,
a child.
you think I don't know that?
Like-
I thought I wasn't funny because I wasn't on board with racist, homophobic slurs as humor.
Yeah,
And so I was like, oh, I must not be hilarious.
And I don't even mean as humor. I mean, like, it's the word that you heard most of any word
Look,
when little boys were
yes,
hanging out.
yes.
They just call each other fat.
Yeah.
I attest.
All the time.
I agree.
Yeah.
Whatever attest means, I attest.
And like,
I actually don't know what attest
You
it
means.
just
concur.
something happens
Okay.
constantly. Yes, you do.
I
Stop.
don't.
You went to college.
I
So,
did go to college. Didn't like it.
a Bible
Your mom
college,
goes to
fair enough.
college.
But
No. Deep cut. Not really, but old. Yeah, good reference.
Old.
Old. Yeah, old. Good old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
very good.
Very good, Remy.
Well, no, when I say these words, I sometimes really doubt myself. Like when I said that, I had a good idea that I was getting it right, but part of me is always like, that's not the right use of that word.
That's true.
So I cover my tracks a lot because I'm often uncertain. I'm that way with people's names, even if I'm pretty certain what their name is.
I do
don't
the same thing, yeah.
I don't guess because I'm like, what if I fuck
Even
it
if
up?
I'm 100% certain what someone's name is, I will like stop myself and be like,
Yeah,
no, you don't know.
Oh, yeah. I do
Yeah.
a lot of hate you.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm also face blind. So that's another thing I have to.
Are you face blind?
What's that?
Not completely, but I have to like memorize.
It
more
is
than just the shape of your
wild.
face. I sometimes have trouble memorizing faces because people look alike to me.
Oh, my God. Does my hair throw you off when I change it?
No, because I know.
My voice.
No, I know certain things about people. It's not like I'm face blind. I'm not like the real one, but I've had trouble in the past where like it was actually funny. The best first meeting of girls, because growing up I was really bad at meeting people in general, but the times that it went really well was when I confused a girl with someone I already knew and just started talking to them like I knew them.
Yeah.
And then I would end up, and then when as soon as I realized, oh wait, you're not that girl, I would revert back to not being able to talk to them.
How much damage was done? Was it like two girls you were fucking and you?
Oh no, this is when I was in high school, so I wasn't fucking anyone.
Just
But
put
it
him
was
at
literally
ease.
like I would see a girl and be like, "Oh hey," and like, and you learn something. You're like, the way they treat you when you act that way,
Yeah.
they're like nicer,
Yeah.
than they ever would have been.
Yeah.
If I was awkwardly. It was a very and no, I remember literally
People
in
respond to
camp,
energy.
two girls fighting over my attention because I started talking to one like I knew her and I'd never met her before, and that didn't happen to me before or for another like 12 years.
I think also, too, when they realize that you thought it was someone else, that could be even kind of like a fun power move because girls love to be confused with other people. Like, wait, I'm not special? And then they're like,
it's like a strange negging.
it's a strange
Oh,
negging. Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know how
Interesting.
to use negging though.
It's like, oh, yeah, you look fine, but not good enough that I don't realize that you're another person.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Healthy cup of negnog.
Yes,
Eggnog.
careful. But yeah, I think the Kevin Hart thing. It's like it's not an easy question.
We don't know what he believes. We don't know from that tweet though.
But people
so
said
like,
different
let's
things
not
years
start
ago.
firing him.
That's true, but there were a few tweets that were bad. But I mean,
Yeah.
I've seen so many
Won't argue with that.
comedians say things, before now and up until now that before you weren't allowed to say it. That I was like, you're a piece of shit and I hate you.
I said worse on the way over here
Yes,
to
but,
strangers.
but you mean it ironically.
Yeah.
I was at the Comedy Store once doing a show,
Buying comedy.
and a guy did a joke about a gay guy killing himself. And that was a recent news story for bullying. And his joke was, and it killed, full Comedy Store. It destroyed. The whole joke was, what do you think he sounded like on the way down?
Oh, buddy.
And then he proceeded to do an impression of a flamboyantly gay man screaming for his life.
Well,
And
yeah.
I was so fucking mad at this crowd for laughing at this.
That stuff murders in AC. Have
And
you
it
ever
makes
played
me-
AC Comedy Club?
Yes, I
Yeah.
have.
Or any of the
Yes,
clubs
I
in
do.
AC?
Yeah.
They love any base humor. Like, I dared my boyfriend one time. I said, go out there and say, hey, everyone, I'm the poo-poo pee-pee comic. When I say poo-poo, you say pee-pee. And he did it, and they did it.
That's great.
Yeah.
And they were on board with him.
Half the people at these
Hell
Atlantic
yeah.
City shows were comped these tickets and like cajoled into going to the show.
Yeah, but they like it. Oh my God, the people that like get laughs there, I'm like, I hate that you feel like you're great.
What I hate about laughs, or about crowds in general, is like with this Nimesh thing, no one laughed. Like the whole crowd went silent when he did his fairly innocuous joke. And it's funny because everyone's like, "And that how you know?" And it's like, "Oh, really?" So if you were at it means I think 95% of the people offended, if they were at a different show of his and they heard the exact same joke,
Yeah.
and people laughed,
they would laugh
be like,
with him.
"Oh, it's a good joke."
Dude, that's what I hate. The worst thing I hate that these motherfuckers always say They always say, I'm not offended. It just wasn't funny. Like, yeah, you were fucking offended. Shut up. Just admit it, you know? Like, they always say that, and they always say, like, I'm not easy to offend, but, and then, like, go into their bullshit.
That's what they said about the fucking Crenshaw joke on SNL that Pete did. The joke, part of the joke that got him in trouble was that the guy in the eye patch looked like a hitman in a porno movie. Now, you could be offended.
What's wrong with that?
What's wrong with that?
What the fuck is wrong with that?
Well, they were offended by sort of
the fact that he lost his eye in war?
That wasn't the only thing Pete said. Then he did a thing where he offhanded, spoken elegantly, and said, you know, I know he lost his eye in the war or whatever.
Whatever. Yeah,
and whatever, like, on paper looked a lot worse than just someone, like, using a hem and haw.
Lord.
Kind of like just keeping, throwing
They got
words
mad at that shit.
But
I mean, all these
the
people
point
said,
is
well,
that
it's
I
not
do
funny.
respect.
Fuck you, it is funny.
It is
Hitman
funny.
in a porno movie is a perfect fucking joke.
Yeah.
You have a right to be offended. You do not have a right to lie about how funny it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. If he had lost his eye any other way and you weren't thinking about that, it's funny.
Yeah.
That's what he looks like.
I think the people on the right are just really offended by the fact that it was a porno because they're like so like up like
Their president fucks porn stars.
Wait, it was the right that was angry about this?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
refreshing.
the left
That's refreshing.
doesn't-
That's
Because
refreshing.
it was making fun of military service.
Yeah.
But like
Why could he say like number 2 from Austin Powers? Would that be better?
I think any joke that they
Made fun of him.
They'll find a way to
They'll
be
fi-
fucking
right.
inoffensive. I mean, the hitman in a porno, even when I noticed in the articles, they tended to not say the joke itself because they knew people would be like, okay. It's such they're like, if he said he looked like a villain in a soap opera, he's a guy in an eye patch.
Yeah.
Like, he's a big boy.
Yeah.
He's a soldier. He's a tough guy. I don't think he was shrinking to this. I think it was just sort of an opportunity to make points.
Yeah.
But then people did say, they're like, well, if you're going to do a joke about it, at least make it funny. Go fuck yourself.
That's the part that sucks. Like,
Yeah.
fucked up shit is funny. It just is. Science.
The joke's good. A joke's a joke. We've all written jokes that we're like, this is mathematically funny, but I can't say this.
Right.
I've done it a lot.
Well,
I don't think Eli, I know for a fact,
for
has never
yourself.
said that. You call yourself like the problematic pariah.
Oh, I have so many dumb
wrestling
nicknames for
name?
myself. Yeah, I have so many dumb nicknames.
But yeah, I mean, I can think of so many jokes that I've thought of and then didn't do. And
Tell you, when you resign yourself to never having success, it just opens up a world. Like, you just stop giving a shit.
oh no, I need to. I really should check my Twitter. I just things are.
Oh, I'm deleting that shit the second I get hired for something.
See, then it's too late. That is funny. The thing, like, Kevin Hart's been in so many giant movies.
Also,
Yeah.
though,
Why now?
How do they notice when they are deleted? Like,
Someone's paying
does
attention.
somebody get
Yeah,
notified?
someone screenshotted it and then went back to check and it wasn't there. It's like
What?
someone.
yeah, so they've been like keeping like a treasure trove of tweets for
Yeah.
like 10 years waiting for the minute that they can drop a bomb.
now. You won't either.
Yeah.
Someone who definitely has a
Exactly.
great, fulfilling, interesting life and a lot going on takes the time to do that.
Well, I think it's a lot of resentment of people who do comedy that this is some kind of equalizer.
That's what a lot of people. I get. I know it sounds reductive to just be like. I just had that thing in my head again where I was like, "Is that the right word?" But
It is.
but to be like, "Oh, they're just jealous." But I think there is like, especially with like journalists and shit, just a fucking very subconscious disdain for people with talent and the ability to take them down and feel like they're above them.
I've had a lot of people, like, especially who I grew up with here, like, whenever I'll see them out or whatever, which I do rarely, but I'll see them sometimes, and they're like, wow, I see you're really into that comedy thing.
Oh God.
You know, and like kind of being like, that's so great that you can do that. Like, but
Wow.
also at the same time trying to make you feel like a
Really?
loser.
My friends have all been. My friends are all like very supportive. Like they're.
I mean, anyone who's saying that to you is basically someone who feels that they gave up on their dreams.
Exactly.
And that's what you should too.
I know. And in the beginning, I
They
used to
feel
be
better.
offended, and now I'm just like
No, fuck that.
happy about it.
Yeah, misery loves company.
I'm
They
like,
want- it's
enjoy
like
finance
it's like a rapist wanting everyone to be like them. Everyone just wants them to. Everyone wants to.
to be misery loves company.
Yeah.
All
Everyone,
the monsters just think they're average.
Here's
They all
one thing
think they're
though
just...
about the Kevin Hart thing is I do think like a lot of the movements this year and last year like have been like, okay, there are and have been these mostly men in power and high up positions who maybe don't have the best interest of other people, or they are racist, or they are sexist, or whatever it is, or they're homophobic. And do we want to give them like an ability to speak for the next generation.
My feeling with this Kevin Hart thing is he obviously knows now that he should not be using the F word and he should not be telling homophobic jokes. However, if you have a president that's trying to ban transgender people from the military, why is a tweet going to ban someone from the Oscars? Like, it's just at this point,
Right.
it's stupid.
It's craziness. I see your point, Remy. I do think that
Like the
If he
Woody
put that-
Allens
if
of
he-
the world, that it's like, why do we have to have this not creep, but like, you know,
yeah, but again, like is like comparing what Woody Allen did to what Kevin Hart did, though.
Very different.
Yeah, and Kevin Hart also. If he made that tweet now, I don't think he should get fired from the Oscars, but I wouldn't blame someone for being like, dude, why the fuck did you tweet that?
Right,
You know what
but
I mean?
this is like
Did
10
that
years
now-
ago.
If he did that now, it should have greater repercussions
Right.
than 10 years ago, because
I
it was
still
a
don't think he should
different
be taken off the Oscars for it.
You
I
could
think
get away with saying that word in the past. It doesn't make it right, but it also doesn't make it the same as doing it now.
yeah, without
Just
a doubt.
Being against gay marriage in 1989 did not make you homophobic.
No, it was just standard.
Everyone was against
We
gay
are
marriage.
evolving.
It was simply the environment that people lived in.
Our
If you were
morality is
pro-gay
evolving.
If
Yeah.
you were a politician pro-gay marriage in 1989, you were dead. You were gone forever.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
people
Yeah,
go
yeah,
back and say, oh, well, you know, Hillary and Obama weren't in favor of it until the world started coming around, and then they were. It's like, yeah, so?
I was raised so fucking homophobic, dude.
Yeah.
Like, some people don't know. It is like it's stupid for me to act like I'm the victim for this, but unlearning that shit, it's fucking, it sucks. It's hard.
100%.
It's brutal.
Well,
I'm grateful that I did, but if I hadn't like moved from where I was, I don't know if I would have. And I don't think I was hateful then. I think I was ignorant. I think I was around other people who just reinforced that and also just wanted to be comfortable and not change their worldview.
that's a lot of it is just people who are comfortable and lazy.
Yeah, it's comfort. No one wants. It's very uncomfortable to have to change your opinion on how the world is.
Oh my God, you just gave me a segue to something else I wanted to talk about real quick.
Let's do it.
Baby, It's Cold Outside. The
Oh
Christmas
my
song.
God.
Don't gotta tell
It's
me. I walked
literally
over
about
there.
rape.
Every Christmas,
I've always thought that was creepy.
About that song.
It's so
it's a creepy
creepy.
song,
Call it
dude.
a hacky thing to say. It's not hacky. It's what any thinking person thinks. when they
Yeah,
read the
stop
lyrics of the
playing
song.
that song.
And people are the reaction though. Everyone's like, "Stay away from my Christmas music," which basically is them saying, "Literally any progress offends me."
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like. I think that there's always overreactions on both sides. I think doing like there's something like, well, let's pass a law where the radio stations cannot do that. And yeah, that's overkill. But if I'm a radio person, I don't play that. I'm not going to play that song.
There's so many
I think-
other
yeah, yeah.
songs.
Like, there's
really?
not-
Like, what about
Christmas
Jesus?
music.
That's why I'm offended. It's not about Jesus.
Yeah.
It's taking the distracting from the
That's
real
actually
meaning of
true.
Christmas.
You can the same radio stations that are fighting and saying we have to be able to keep using this song probably don't literally ever have songs that are actual
Christian songs.
They don't have anything about Jesus,
Yeah.
right? There's no way they're playing Holy
Offends
Night.
me.
They're not playing, you know,
They could
Rudolph
play
the
Holy
Red-Nosed
Night.
maybe they're
fucking
playing Holy Night.
But-
They're
bullshit.
probably
But
playing
yeah.
Here Comes Santa Claus.
Right.
Yeah, how about Hark the Herald Angels Sing, baby?
Yeah, they're not going to play that. So
Little drummer boy.
But people just they don't like the idea of anything getting
And
better.
I'll tell you this, with the Baby It's Cold Outside, I do think that it's not coming from a place of they're shitty people. I think it's coming from, I think honestly, part of it is that they're innocent, that they're mad, that they're confused as to why. I think that
they would never draw those
they
parallels?
never would, it just would never cross their mind. Like, wait, no, of course it's not rape. Who would that be? Like, they're so innocent, but it is a type of naivety that you do have to move on from. But I think that they're not like full of malice or full of like, no, let me hear my rape song. What's the matter with you?
right.
I've heard like a lot
My
of
rape
people
song.
argue about like leaving the song, and they always go to, well, you have all these like rap songs that have like bitches and hoes and this and the other thing, and that like why are those songs okay?
Like Hark the Herald Angels Sing.
And why can't, like, why do they have to get rid of Baby It's Cold Outside? But like I mean, granted, I'm not like, I don't know the most rap songs, but I don't necessarily, like, they might be saying bitches and hoes and N-words and whatnot, but like I don't know that they're necessarily about rape.
Yeah.
Like,
Mainstream rappers,
you know what I
almost
mean?
exclusively talk about consensual sex with women.
Eminem talked about
It's
a
like
lot of murder.
all the bitches wanna blank.
Yes,
all the
exactly.
bitches wanna.
Wanna.
Right.
Yeah.
Using name
enthusiastic
Yeah.
consent.
I'm not saying that that
You see them dancing, they're happy as hell. You get to like soap suds on their titties
They're
and
making
shit.
it very clear they want his penis
Mm.
in these songs.
His penis is a good penis. Why wouldn't they not want it?
Right. I mean, there was
Some magic.
And Eminem, look,
Yes.
I'm just glad Eminem
You
had
get
a
it
microphone.
once, you can get it twice.
I'm just glad Eminem had an outlet and wasn't shooting people. Like I'm glad it was healthy to let Eminem get that out in rap songs and not in the real world.
There's a lot of M&Ms out there that can't rap.
Yeah.
And they are just
Shooting up
sucking
the
away
place.
from society. That's what they're doing. They are
It's like,
hurting us all.
we got one. We got one contained.
Also, even Stan, where he's like very violent, I think at the end he kind of it's not about like this is what you should do. It's like this is what Stan did. He's crazy.
Yeah, and it was self. Yeah, it was self. Stan was a self-aware song, and the times were fucking. That's what you did. It's Jackass, South Park, Eminem.
Yeah.
What you did, it was an art form in itself to be like, how do we push the boundaries in this way? And Eminem did it very skillfully. Yeah, right now, of course, like, yeah, you don't do that, but
It's just not a fair comparison. If you're saying, oh, well, rappers say things about women's bodies, and it's like, yeah, well, if any rapper had a song now that had a storyline about not letting a woman leave a house,
He would get in trouble. Yeah. Also, there's no children listening to rap on the radio.
Well.
I mean, no, they are, but not as much.
it's not
as
the target audience.
It's not as much as
It's
in
Christmas.
Christmas music where
Yeah.
it's like, everyone,
Choirs are
let's
singing it.
visit
Yeah.
Santa. And I don't think it's like, oh, we don't, like, kids are going to think about rape. But no, they're going to, like,
You internalize that shit.
yeah, you start being like, okay, it is cold outside.
Well,
I should stay.
most guys.
Because it used to be a thing where, like, it was just a comedy. Like, you'd be like, it was just a thing like, you convince a girl to have sex. And it was a funny scene in a movie when you're just like, come on, let's fuck. What's the matter? And you tried all the different hijinks and pranks to get her to sleep. Like, we grew up on that shit. And that shit does get in your head. And it should.
You know, I always like talk about this with my podcast specifically because of so much popular culture, specifically stand up, where it was like, girls don't come. We don't even care if girls come. We won't make you come. You never like to have sex. Women always trying to sleep when we're trying to fuck them or whatever. Like it's kind of like in your head that like, okay, yeah, like men are the ones that like sex and we just deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in the 80s especially, like I remember like the storyline of music and comedy and movies was always just
like Revenge of the
It was
Nerds.
always about
Oh, yeah.
it was always just about hating women.
Yeah.
It was always just about like men were acting like they're just that women's boots were on their necks.
Yeah.
Well, like,
And
you
it's
grow
all
up-
the time. It was about fighting back.
I grew up in a mad, like, crazy, like, masculine culture, which I like. I don't think masculinity is bad. I don't think any of that. I like that shit. But, like, I did growing up seeing like the woman as just the other and something to be afraid of. You know what I mean? And that's just not healthy. I'm just glad.
like-
I'm glad kids don't. Or I hope kids don't grow up thinking
But like
that.
when you grew up in that culture, like what about women was like should you be afraid of?
That's what I'm saying. Because if they're just
withholding of their bodies.
if you just see them as like they're not given a voice, they're not given a say or whatever, or you at least don't take into account their opinions, it kind of dehumanizes
I
them in a way.
literally
It
thought we
reduces
were
them to
worse.
it reduces them to a sex object. Like, and I'm sounding like a fucking whatever, but like
No,
it's true.
you do. And then when only sex is scary to a fucking 12-year-old boy, it's terrifying. And this is the person who holds the sex. This thing
don't
you're
know if
scared
she'll
of.
get it back.
And
Yeah.
you're not hearing anything else about their opinions. Anything. You're not treating them or you're not perceiving them as a human being. You're treating them as this.
And if you did, they'd want to fuck more. Like, we want to fuck just
the
as
irony.
much.
Yeah.
That's why, like, don't be afraid of us. Be nice to us. We'll
Yeah,
fuck
yeah,
you. We'll
yeah.
do weird shit if you're nice to
Well,
us.
and I will say this about the South. The South, there is a kind of double-edged thing where it does have that aspect to it, but it's like a
Religious.
very religious, but also very gentlemanly. You were raised like don't spit around a lady. Don't. There were a lot of things that were good about the Southern culture.
that
with
still
them.
makes
but
it
no,
other.
it happened. There, some of that does tie into it, but I do think the whole like treat a lady with respect. There were aspects of it that I do think they're positives that the rest of the country could learn from. But overall, yeah, it does create just a giant separation.
yeah.
But was that also kind of causing more of a divide because like you have all of these rules that you have to apply to women, and then are you resentful that you have to constantly do these things for women?
I never got anything like that. I agree with you and like what Remy was saying that there is part of even the good things. Part of that is actually like causing a divide, but I never felt resentful. Like the one thing I will say, at least in my own experience, was that it was just like, no, don't be shitty. Don't be
Right.
shitty is the impression I get. Be a gentleman.
A lot of the things we think of as respect for women are really just putting them in a box.
It can
Yeah.
be.
It's about restricting the things they're allowed to do.
There are aspects with it, but I'd be lying if I said I can't give props to the South in that like the idea of don't be a gentleman, don't be shitty. I'm glad that I grew up with that.
Like remember when Saudi Arabia finally let women drive? It
was like a week ago. Of course I remember.
Yeah, it was only like recently that Saudi Arabia let women finally drive. And I remember an interview before that with someone explaining, and he was like, you don't understand our poor girls. We can't let them on the roads. They're so dangerous. We need to protect our girls.
True. A lot more women are going to die because of this.
Now, to be fair, it's a terrible place to drive. But also, it's partially a terrible place because it's true. There was Saudi Arabia has the worst speeding car accidents. I'm like, well, if half your drivers were women, you'd probably have less speeding and car accidents.
Yeah.
I find too, like, it's, when I'm like go out on a date or something like that, I know that like there are a lot of guys that try to be like gentlemanly, and like one of the things that they try to do is like be like towards the outside of the curb, but like I don't ever, like, I'm a woman, I don't necessarily know that I'm a lady, but I just walk, and so I'm constantly noticing them trying to like wrangle me in, and I kind of feel like they're hurting me, and I'm like, first I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then I'm like, oh, they're trying to keep me on the inside, but like I'm driving them nuts because like I don't know that that's what they're expecting, and then like they're driving me nuts because I'm like, why are you just like disappearing all of the time?
Also, like I've been alive for how many years before I met you?
Yeah, and I'm still alive, and I didn't get hit by a car.
Some people take a lot of just comfort in the structure of gender roles,
right?
And they are very intimidated.
Well, I'll say I do that. I do that where I would never herd someone. I won't like try to like be like no, you have to go over here. But if possible, I try to, even now, and I've known women who don't like that, and I've known women who do like that. But even now, walking with my girlfriend, if a train is coming, I try to be the one on the side where the train is going fast.
Yeah, it's definitely like a nice thing to see somebody gives a fuck.
Yeah.
Right. No, I'm not
as long
saying...
as you just don't let it become controlling or annoying or condescending
like,
or like,
because like I went on a date on Sunday, and like I'm walking, and like I'm talking to him, and I'm looking, and like he's not there, and I'm just kind of like, what the, and then and he's like walking around behind me, and then like he's trying to like move me in more, and I'm trying not to walk on the grates that are by the stores, because like I'm always afraid
will fall in.
I'm afraid that I'm gonna fall in the grates, and it's like I'd much rather get hit, like I'd much rather get splashed than fall in one of these fucking grates,
break your ankle.
Like, why do you keep moving me towards this building? And it's like it was the second date, but like we don't have a shorthand of walking yet, and it's just like driving me nuts, and our umbrellas keep bumping, and I'm like, dude, just fucking walk, let me walk.
Yeah,
like,
if there's no smooth way to do it, I feel like you gotta let it go, I guess.
I mean, that's just his idea of what I have to do to impress this girl.
Well, it might be, but it might, like, I don't know. It could be coming from a good place.
He's got genuine feelings already that he's like, I need to keep her safe.
I think he might just be trying to be polite. I have no idea. Maybe he's trying to be, maybe he's like we're talking about virtue signaling, but maybe he's also just trying to be nice and isn't aware that he's doing it in a clumsy manner.
I would have been far more impressed if his car didn't decline.
Oh man,
brutal.
People would tell their kids not opening a door for a woman is incredibly disrespectful.
Yeah.
See, and I always have to open a door for a guy if he opens one for me first, because I'm like, I need it to be equal. Don't expect anything from me.
Man.
Some doors are heavy.
See, I was raised all this shit, so I'm like,
it's not bad. I mean, I'm not saying that like those people, the politeness is the issue here.
Yeah.
No, I know.
The
I'm just saying it's not always fake. It's not always a show. You know what I mean? Even if it's wrong, I'm not saying it's right, but
when it comes to like baby, it's cold outside.
I forgot about that.
Something that like most people acting this way to women were not trying to rape them.
Right.
Yeah.
Some were.
Some were.
Just because they weren't the majority doesn't mean we shouldn't recognize there's something wrong with this. I was saying on Feldman's show just today that like I remember in like the 80s, people would talk about like a move that guys did was they would go on a date and then they would park somewhere really secluded, and then if the girl didn't do what you wanted, you made her leave the car. That used to be like a common jerk move.
Hold on. Now, was it
a common move for dudes?
Hold on. I got a question. Was it a common move or was it a common thing to say?
Oh.
Like, how often did that... I believe that there are big assholes in the world. How often would that actually happen? You know what I mean?
Women say, like, oh, he kicked me out of the car. Or you would hear women... Worst thing, more often I would hear women say, well, he was going to make me leave the car.
Well,
oh,
God.
Yeah.
I've had friends that have been kicked out on highways.
Yikes.
For that?
But, yeah, basically.
That's the thing. It's almost like a loophole where people are like, well, no one ever thought to make that a law. That's why they do it.
Do what?
Because it's not technically anything. It's not assault.
It's not technically a crime to take someone somewhere and say,
And then-
Just
no longer
profoundly
have the car.
shitty.
Yeah.
So it's almost like they abused that, lack
yeah.
of the law.
It's like, because like I've had friends where like they'd be on a date or whatever, and then the guy's trying to like convince them to go back home with them, and they're like, no, I'm really not. And they take this time to like, they're heading towards the house. Oh, that's the wrong exit. Like, I want to go home. They're like, no, come to my place. No. And then it's like, oh, well, fuck you then. Why don't you walk from here? And then just like kick them out of the car.
Fuck
Yeah,
that.
I guess it does happen more.
That's
Yeah.
insane.
You gotta go.
But yeah, we need to take a break.
Okay.
We'll be right back. By that I mean the episode is over, and you can tune in next week.
Oh.
Okay.
Remy Kassimir, Eli Sairs, Maryssa Smith, and me, Dave Sirus.
Listen to my podcast, Toga Party.
Listen to How Come, and also We Really Love Island.
Okay, well, you can do that again at the next episode.
Sorry.
Sick.
All right. This has been Blamestorming.